It was definitely a doozy. Like, not what I was expecting at all. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I have not been on here in, I don't even know how long. It's been like weeks. And I just wanted to share that I had our little baby girl. Her name is Corabelle, and I thought I would actually just hop on and share my labor and delivery story because it was definitely a doozy. Like, not what I was expecting at all. So if any of you guys have watched my labor and delivery stories for my two boys, they were long. I labored a long time. With my first, it was 32 hours, and the second, it was 15. And the only reason it was 15 was because my doctor put me on Pitocin so that I could go longer, or like go quicker. But this time, I guess like total hours that I was laboring was 17. But towards the end, it like went extremely quick. So I started laboring at 10 in the morning on June 12th. Yeah, and they got bad kind of quickly actually, and I like went for a walk with the boys, and like I could only make it a few blocks before I had to turn around because my contractions were getting so bad. They were like a minute to 2 minutes apart, and they were pretty painful. Like, I had to breathe through them. So Ben came home and we went to the hospital around like 2:30 or 3. And I had a doctor's appointment before that, like a few days before that, and I was 4 centimeters dilated. And when I went in on that Friday on June 12th, I was still 4 centimeters dilated when we went in, but I was, I guess, soft. My cervix was softened a lot. So they sent me home, and they always do this, and everyone always tells me, I can't believe they sent you home when you were having contractions and you were 4 centimeters dilated. I don't know. They did the same thing with our first son. And then I always end up going back in because it progresses. So anyway, so they sent me back home because they said that it could potentially just like stop. So we went for walk after walk after walk after walk. I did not want them to stop. Like, just to walk a block, I had to stop like 3 times for contractions because they were so bad. But because like what I did with our first son was I just waited until I started throwing up till we went in again, because I thought, well, who knows? So we didn't go in, and then they like kind of stopped at 11 p.m. I want to say, and all I thought to myself was, oh my goodness, like of course they're gonna stop. I was getting so irritated. Sorry, this little girl was getting a little fussy. So anyway, so around 11, they kind of like started to slow down, and I was getting so mad because I thought of course they would stop. So I was like, whatever. I went to bed, and like a couple hours later, or an hour or so later, I started to get them pretty bad again, and I was going to go up, maybe it was like 2, I can't even remember the time exactly. I was gonna get up to take a bath because that helps with my contractions, like it helps with the pain a little bit. And right when I got up, my water broke, which I have never experienced before because it normally breaks when I'm in the hospital. So that broke, thank goodness it broke right when I got out of bed, so it didn't get on our bed. And then the contractions started to get really bad really quickly. So we went to the hospital and confirmed that my water did break. And I just was like, okay, I said, yep, I want an epidural because I know that it takes about an hour for them to like come up and do it. So I told her like, yep, I want an epidural. And I tested positive for strep B. So they just have to push, I think it's penicillin. So the nurse was like trying to push fluids and the penicillin like super quickly through so that I could get an epidural right away. And I like, so I got my labor and delivery gown on because I bought one myself, so it was really cute and I was so excited to wear it. And then, so when I got in, I was 5 centimeters dilated at that point and my water broke. So they were getting everything ready, and then all of a sudden, like, you could tell the nurse was really frantic, and she like was trying to feel for the baby and was like flipping me from side to side. And I think what happened was that Cora was on her umbilical cord, so her stats were dropping. So she turned me to my side and the contractions were so bad. I asked her if there was just like any other position that I could try to help with the contractions because they were getting so bad. And so I tried standing for a little bit and it wasn't helping. So then she brought in the birthing ball and that definitely helped. And all I kept on thinking to myself was, man, I must just be a baby this time because I don't remember the contractions getting so bad. Like, I could still breathe through them and everything, but they were just worse than I remembered from before. And the nurse left to go grab stuff because I was maybe there for like not even an hour, and she went to go grab like stuff to get ready, and I just started to pee. Like, I couldn't help it. My bladder like just completely released. And then when she came in, I told her and I was like, oh my goodness, I was like, I feel like I have to poop. Like, and I knew right then and there that this little girl was coming. So the nurse was like frantically like, you need to get on the bed right now. And she checked me and she was like, oh my gosh, okay, you are complete. So within a couple minutes, I went from, because I think the last time she checked me, I was a 6. I went from being 6 centimeters dilated to being complete, and this little girl was trying to come out within minutes. And it was really funny because the 2 nurses were frantically trying to get everything in the room because I was there for not even an hour yet, and they were still just trying to get stuff ready. So they were frantically running in and out of the room, telling me to hold my contractions, try to breathe through them. And the best part was the nurse was just like, I am so sorry, I hate to tell you, but you're not gonna get an epidural. And I was thinking, yep, I figured that at this point. So I had to hold my contractions, and I didn't realize that was this long, but I held my contractions for 10 minutes. And I had my leg like turned in because I knew if I turned my leg out, she was coming. Because like, when you don't have an epidural and you are trying to hold your contractions, it is really hard because your body is trying to force the baby out and you're trying to hold it in, which was honestly probably the hardest part about it all. So it got to the point where after the 10 minutes, her stats started to drop, and they put me on oxygen to try to help her stats. And then the nurse turned the leg. Mind you, the doctor is not even here yet. The nurse turned my leg out and I knew immediately. I was like, her head popped out. So then I didn't know if I was supposed to push or not because I was like, the doctor's not here. I'm not really sure what's going on. And my body naturally pushed with the contraction, and she came popping out. So the nurse delivered her. The doctor showed up like 10 minutes later or so, and it was crazy. Right when she was born, I was apologizing because I felt so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I couldn't hold her in anymore. And the nurse was like, no, that's completely okay. She was like, you held your contractions for 10 minutes, which is so hard to do without an epidural. So I feel kind of good. But yeah, so we were in the hospital for about an hour, and she was born at 4:13 in the morning. It was crazy. The doctor came in later and like took my placenta out and whatnot, but definitely crazy. It was so quick. I couldn't believe that from the time my water broke to the time I delivered her was like an hour and 45. It wasn't even 2 hours. So she just wanted to come out. I gave birth to her at 37.5 weeks, which was really nice. So I have not even reached my due date yet. My due date is June 29th. So she just really wanted to come out, even though she was being stubborn at the beginning. But yeah, definitely crazy. Didn't have an epidural, which, I mean, I guess now I can say I've experienced it without an epidural, but I would definitely choose an epidural, because then you don't have to go through the pain, which it really actually wasn't even bad. The hardest part was just the contractions, like, not the contractions, the holding her in during the contractions. That was probably the hardest part. But otherwise, like, the regular contractions really weren't too bad, and I was actually kind of surprised that they weren't more painful than they were. But she weighed 7 pounds, 9 ounces, and 19.5 inches long. She looks exactly like her brother. I should say the middle child now. It's crazy. But right when we had her, my husband was like, yep, she's definitely a girl, because I just could see I could just see it being a boy. Even though they said it was a girl, like, you just don't know what could happen. So that was kind of exciting. We did end up having to stay in the hospital for 2 days just to watch her, because I did have strep B and I did not get antibiotics. They maybe got half a bag in, and I think they need 1 or 2 full bags in 4 hours before delivery. So they just watched her for 2 days just to make sure that nothing was wrong, and she is perfect. She is so healthy. She eats like a little piggy, and she sleeps pretty good. She's normally only up like once, maybe twice a night, which is really, really nice. I will show you her. So it's definitely crazy now with 3 in the house. So this is little Miss Cora, just sleeping away. The boys love her so much. Like, they're actually doing so good with her. I am so surprised, but I figured I would share that with you since she is like a week and a half old now. So I'm gonna try to get back on a schedule, or like try to film more, but we'll see, because it is gonna be a little bit crazy here. Like, Ben is still home right now, but next week he goes back to work, so it'll just be me with the 3 kids, which will be just a little bit different. But thank goodness newborns are pretty easy, and I can normally stick them in the mama-roo to get stuff done. But I just wanted to share and introduce our little girl to the world. So everybody meet Corabelle.